Okay, we've got some pretty insane news coming out of Alabama. Now it's Alabama, it's bumfuck Alabama, and so it's like Florida as a state. I really don't want to be associated with it, but this is pretty crazy. Okay, this says Alabama bill banning nearly all abortions passes House almost unanimously. Now, let's read this article. It says a bill in Alabama banning nearly all abortions in the state passed the House of Representatives Tuesday with only three lawmakers voting against the measure. State Representative Terry Collins, the sponsor of the measure, said the bill is intended to go all the way up to the Supreme Court and challenge Roe v. Wade, currently the law of the land making abortions legal. If passed, the bill would criminalize abortions in all cases unless the health of the pregnant person was in danger and make it a Class C felony for a doctor to perform the procedure. The bill also does not include any exceptions for cases where rape or incest caused the pregnancy. The measure passed by a vote of 74-3. While several Democratic lawmakers attempted to add amendments to the bill, such as adding an exception for rape or incest, Collins said none would be accepted due to the fact she wants the bill to be used to overturn Roe v. Wade. Quote, "We decided it was time to address the actual issue, which was, do we want to allow abortion in our country? And maybe ask the Supreme Court to revisit their decision so long ago with so little technology we have right now." And so this is going to be an interesting one. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to, end up going. So I guess this passed through the state house, and I guess it's going to have to go through the state senate afterwards, and then I guess signed into law by the governor. So I guess there are a few more steps to be made in this process. But certainly this is pretty concerning because, as you guys know, of course, both Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh are now on the Supreme Court. So the lock is kind of gone. And, when you have two more conservative justices on the court after there was a vacancy when Antonin Scalia died and it was a 4-4, it's not looking so good now. So we're definitely in a situation where we're pretty vulnerable if this does end up making it to the Supreme Court. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the process this bill specifically would take for it to actually, go. So it says otherwise it'll be challenged in federal court. So if it goes to federal court, it'll probably go through the appellate system. And the Supreme Court will, of course, have to pick it up and decide if they want to pick it up. And I forget how many justices it takes. I think it's 4 justices, although maybe 5 or 6, but I want to say it's 4 who decide. You need 4 people to decide, oh, yeah, we're going to hear that case. Now, I may have that number wrong, but it'll be interesting to see, man. I'm worried about this. This is obviously an insane law. This will be struck down in some way. Although the thing is, again, remember, so based on the Roe v. Wade guidelines that were set from that Supreme Court case, there are tons, and I mean tons, of these abortion bills passed in like all of these red states. Ohio, Texas, Florida, Alabama. Where one of them, I forgot if it was in Ohio, was like a heartbeat one, which is like 6 weeks, which is before most women even know they're pregnant. And they all get struck down because of the Roe v. Wade ruling. Now, this would be a challenge to Roe v. Wade if it actually makes it to the Supreme Court. So this is pretty scary, especially when you look at something like the bill also does not include any exception for cases where rape or incest cause of pregnancy. Now, I'm against third trimester abortions because I think at that point it's, the baby is far too developed to be able to really do an abortion. I don't think it's okay. But to not have, the exception for rape or incest that's caused the pregnancy, and to just try to ban all of them is absolutely, unacceptable, obviously, especially when you talk about really early pregnancies, because I think it's like over 99 or 90 something percent happen in the first like 13 weeks. And I think when it's that early, I don't really have a problem with it. I think that at that point it's fine. Now, the thing is the goal should be this. And, I think it was the phrase of Bill Clinton, which was safe, legal, and rare. That's the ultimate goal, right? We want to have free contraception upon access, and we want to have, good sex education. And so we don't want more abortions. And actually, they've been going down, by the way. And also, the other thing also is like outlawing abortions also doesn't really stop it, because then you start getting alleyway abortions and scary things like that. But this is certainly definitely something to be weary of. Now, again, wary. but I'm not sure if this is going to end up going to the Supreme Court or not.